it's a found object off the internet. So everything I make is, I've found the original image, which is three-dimensional. I can't show you it in 3D here because I haven't got 3D software on this laptop, but it's a Pattern 60 American Army tank which I downloaded off the internet in 3 dimensions. So it's a digital tank, not a real tank, and then I've taken it into various engineering packages and extracted various shapes and then made cutting paths to be able to cut all the shapes out. So it will look more like this. These are all the plywood shapes which are outside waiting to be loaded up to be taken to Scunthorpe on Thursday. And now it's never been put together apart from on my laptop. The whole sculpture is waiting to be put together for the very first time. Obviously I can put it together digitally, but that is not the same as putting it together physically. And so going back to the figures, you'll see the figures standing on the sculpture here. So that is one of the abstract figures you can see there with a head on it. More figures here. So that's there. That is one of the shapes that I'll show you how it goes together. And so that is kind of how this is a visualization of the sculpture using another software program. I've got about 5 software programs that I have to use to work with, from digital through to manufacturing software.
Let me just come back wider. Why is there so many programs? Is it just because this is the uniqueness of the project?
Well, I've got to do. It's like having different tools.
Right.
Having different workshop tools. A different software program does something different. There is probably one software program somewhere out there, but this is the way I've found I can work. It's just sort of make it up as you go along, really.
And why did you come to a tank?
Came across one press photograph of an army tank with a bombed out army tank with children on it, and it resonated, and it as an image. And I was looking for a source to use as a starting point for a new piece of work, and that just felt right. And I can't explain it. And I started working on that aspect. I mean, making art is multi-layered, so the figurative element is one aspect, but the actual the way you make a piece of sculpture and how it's constructed and everything is another aspect to it. So there are many layers. So that was a starting point to express other ideas.
And that was, just tell me about where your head was 3 years ago when you were looking for this project. Why the where did it, just from the beginning, where did it sort of
Well, I wanted to make a large piece of sculpture using all the technology that I had and all the skills that I had accumulated, and I approached a gallery in Scunthorpe who asked me if I could come up with an idea, and I presented that idea to them, and they said, go for it, we'll help you with the funding to get an Arts Council grant, and we'll show the piece of work when it's finished. So I went ahead and got the funding, and then I was committed, really. Once the idea was put forward to the art gallery and the Arts Council, and that current idea I had with the tank, then I was committed to do it. There was no turning back then. So, but 3 years is a long time, and ideas change, so I've had to be quite disciplined to try and keep to the original idea and not put too many other ideas over the top of it. But obviously things have changed over 3 years, and now I'm desperate to start something new. But I've got to get this finished. But I've moved on. You moved on.
What would your in a brief, more of a bullet point? What have been the biggest challenges? Do you think?
the biggest challenge has been trying to, as I said, trying to keep at it and not give up. So many times I've thought it was too big for me to do, and it was a lot of work. And if I think too much about the amount of work that I put into it, I would question, is it worth doing? But it will be when it's up and running. But it hasn't been put up yet, so I'm getting a little bit frustrated, a bit nervous, a bit apprehensive because it's never been put together after 3 years of working on it. But that is the life of a sculptor. You put a lot of energy and processes into something, and you don't see the end result straight away.
Is this your biggest project of your career?
It's the biggest project I've taken on myself, yeah. I am a bonfire builder, a professional bonfire builder, but that is built. I've done bigger things, yeah. I've done a replica of the Houses of Parliament, quarter size or something like that, which is burnt down in London, was part of the 400th anniversary of the Gunpowder Plot. But that was with a production company and with lots of resources, and that took 3 weeks and burnt down in 2 hours. So I mean, this piece of work is kind of a little bit like a bonfire build as well. So it's using all my skills that I've developed over the past 35, 40 years of working as a sculptor.
And what ahead of putting it all together and shipping it up north, what does it mean to you? Are you over it, or are you into the perhaps feeling a bit excited mode?
I'm starting to get excited now, because it's gone from me being a slave to that machine, because I had to stand next to that machine day in, day out, nursing it, because if anything went wrong, I had to be there. I would have to be there to press the panic button, because it's like it would be an uncontrollable thing that would keep going, because it's only a stupid computer. So I'm looking forward to getting it finished. Yeah. Two things really. The computer just provided me with the skeletal form. Yeah. And so once the skeletal form was manufactured, then I brought all the elements that the computer manufactured out, and then I had the fun element of doing something with those elements that the computer made. So it's like the digital side is the starting point, and then me being hands-on artist actually making it up and using those sections and being creative was the fun element. Now I'm just looking forward to getting it up, using my hands. But I've still got the problems of, there are a few problems still to go, probably the actual engineering side of it, the physical engineering of it. Is it going to stand up? There's gravity now coming into play. There's no gravity in a computer, so the pieces weigh a lot. So I need to know how the structure will stand up.
Do you think when you get it up there, it'll just be, it's like a little child basically? You've been bringing up a child out, and you're bringing it's a sort of out of technology into you're birthing it into the present, well, I suppose. Yeah, well, that is creativity. It's your child would never have existed without you, and you don't know what that child is going to be like. And then, so yeah, it'll be born when I take it to Scunthorpe and put it together, I suppose. Yeah, so that is creativity. Is doing something that's never been done before. It's like when people ask me why I'm a sculptor, it's a little bit like asking somebody why they climb Everest. They say because it's there. Well, I say I make a piece of sculpture because it's not there. It wouldn't exist if it wasn't for me. So that is creativity, yeah. Awesome. Brilliant. That's lovely.